Barbie!
Coach Sweet in the dream house.
Boys, avenge me! Avenge me! Avengers!
Bazinga.
Scruffy-looking nerf herders.
Ethan Hunt contacted you?
I am good, Rooster. I'm very good.
So you are Yoi's a trainer who trains.
Gonzo the Great will ride this baby again.
Hello, and welcome to episode 72 of the Real Serious Podcast. Big episode today, Mission Impossible. We made it. Final reckoning. Before we get into that, we have a lot more things to touch on. But first, Charles, Jack, how are we, boys? How's it going? Happy Memorial Day.
Should I have worn a hat? You guys are both wearing hats.
Yeah, you do seem a little left out.
I'll get a hat while one of you guys are talking about movies. But good. I ran a 10K this morning, the Boulder. Ooh. Maybe you guys have heard of it. It's only the second biggest 10K in the US.
That is.
At the elevation too. I mean, that's impressive.
I think there were like 60,000 people. There are 97 heats, and in each heat, I don't know how many people are in each heat, but yeah, ton of people. Went well. It was very rainy, but finished. Felt good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
I'm here, ready to go.
Yeah. And then after the race, I finished a movie that I think Jack will be particularly happy to hear that I watched.
Saw a little sneak peek.
Oh, you saw
I also watched a movie this week that I think Jack will be very pleased with.
Let's go, man. This is just like,
yeah,
this is awesome.
Heck yeah. Jack, how was the Indy 500?
It was awesome. It was my first time. So I'd never been before, and I went with a group of friends, and it was so exciting. I honestly, I didn't think I would be into it that much, but learned a little bit about some of the racers, and then I was kind of like, I was locked in. I know the people I went with, they were going for Pato, which he ended up coming in third place after because a couple people got booted because they were cheating, or they failed in an inspection. So yeah, I mean, it was a really good time. It was just so awesome. The fact that you get to bring in your own drinks, and if you want to bring in food, you can. It's the craziest thing to me, but I think that's so awesome that they do it.
The security at that place is concerningly low.
I know.
They are just bringing everyone through the metal detector at once, and I don't think they double check anything. But the Indy 500 is so fun. Yeah. I was going for Newgarden. I didn't watch the race, but I was just in my mind going for Newgarden because I think he won the past 2 years.
I was keeping an eye out for him because he basically cheated. He got put back. He got put to the end of this. I'm totally throwing my words off here. Apparently, because he cheated, or they got caught for cheating, he got put and started the race in last place.
That stinks.
And he was cooking. I mean, he got up to what, 7th or 8th, and then his car just broke down, and it was just dang. But
wow,
he was really fun to just watch because he started all the way in the back, and he was just he wasn't slowly, but honestly, he was cooking. But yeah, it was fun. Got a little bit. I got some more movies in this week. It was fun to actually be able to watch some movies this week.
Jack's living his graduated, employed but not busy era.
Yeah, just trying to squeeze them in.
It's a good time to be in.
It's a great time.
But then again, sometimes when you are employed, you have good times. Because this week I got a 3-timer at the theaters this week, upcoming.
Oh man,
I know.
You're going to 3 movies this week?
Yeah.
I can tell you what he's not seeing. Lilo and Stitch.
That is correct. I will not. Also, big controversy with Lilo and Stitch. Do you guys see all that stuff? People were mad. So mad. Because I guess Lilo is given up to some lady at the end of the movie. And then, so Charles, you know the first one, right? How the older sister or cousin stays and raises Lilo. But I guess in the new one, she gives up Lilo so she can go to college. And everyone is mad.
Jeez.
I'm still gonna go see it later this week just to form my own opinions.
Instead, I want to see Mission Impossible again. So
No, that would make sense.
like a real man.
Like a
The way
real
Tom-
man.
The way Tom Cruise intended it. See it twice.
I think Tom Cruise would encourage us to go see all the movies, you know?
He would, actually. He said that in the Pat McAfee show. It's not a competition.
Exactly.
He wants them all to
Love it.
succeed.
Tom
He also
Cruise being on the
was
Pat
climbing
McAfee
on
show
Bruce
is
when he was
awesome.
like 2.5.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe that?
I'd like to believe it.
See Pat McAfee's face? He's like,
I like to believe that in Tom Cruise story. Tom Cruise to me is like a Bo Jackson, where it's just like you just believe the stories. It's like I'll just believe it.
yeah. I also saw a story about during COVID how he like personally revived Hollywood. Like,
Yeah,
during
I saw
COVID.
that story too. That story was
Yeah.
told by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, Steven Spielberg like said to Tom Cruise to his face, like, "You saved Hollywood. Thank you."
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which would be like I
That's
would
gotta
never
be
be able
awesome.
to, yeah, I would be like, that'd be the greatest thing ever. if someone said that to me.
For our listeners who aren't familiar with the story, apparently during COVID, he called like one studio and was like, "Hey, like, are you guys filming?" They're like, "No, it's COVID." He's like, "What? This other film studio is recording or like filming now. Like, you got to catch up to him." And then 2 weeks later, he calls him again, like, "Hey, just wanted to check. Like, you're filming, right? Everyone else is filming." And they're like, "All right, we'll get like we've been filming. Like, we're all good." And then Tom Cruise called another film or like at maybe his studio. It was like, these guys are filming. Like, we got to catch up to them. And then like everyone just started filming.
Yeah, he also like would not let Paramount release Top Gun onto Paramount Plus. He was like, "No, we have to hold it," and they held it
Yeah.
for like 3 years.
You know how crazy it would have been if they released Top Gun Maverick on Paramount Plus?
Well, to tell you the truth, I bet if they did that, I bet we would not have gotten the last two Mission Impossibles. Tom Cruise would have pulled out of that contract for sure, out of just
That's
pure
just-
anger and spite.
That's just crazy. Like a movie that big, it's just seeing it at home just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But
Anyways,
Tom Cruise doing what he can to keep cinema alive. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. So anyways, I didn't tell my story. I went to California this last weekend to celebrate a birthday, but more importantly, to watch Mission Impossible on a giant IMAX screen at a Regal cinema, which I'll talk about later because me and Regal, man, there's a reason I'm an AMC A-lister. All right. I don't mess with Regal, but we'll get to that later. But first, what have the boys been watching? Let's jump into it.
I'll go
I think
first.
you go first. All right.
Yeah, I guess I can. I actually had a pretty busy week, and I had kind of like some fun film experiences that I don't think I can't say I've had before. But I watched Mission Impossible. That's the first film I watched Thursday night. Haven't had a lot of Thursday night showings since starting the job. This one I was able to make.
Heck
Talk about later. I watched Friendship, and Hunter, I know you haven't. Jack, I think you said you also have not, but you intend to.
I'm
Yeah.
going this week.
Okay,
Yes,
then keeping it very, very general. This was hysterical. It was a painful watch. It was one of those where it's like, God, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, this is hard to like. It was relatable to an extent. I mean, you guys know the general
Premise.
synopsis. It's
Yeah.
it's a Tim Robinson movie, so you know the kind of humor that you'll get. But Tim Robinson plays this random guy in a neighborhood. New guy moves in. Paul Rudd plays this new guy, invites him to a couple things, hang out with his buddies. And Tim Robinson's like loving this, this friendship that he hasn't experienced before. Yeah, see what I did there? But one thing leads to another. These people don't really want Tim Robinson around anymore, and the movie's just about Tim Robinson like trying to wheedle his way back into this friend group. A lot of painful parts, but it's a very fun watch. It's also pretty short, and like I said, humor's great. I will say, I went in with an expectation, and this movie met that expectation in every way. Did not exceed it. Did not fail to meet it. So like whatever expectations you guys have, you'll like it's probably exactly what you think.
There you go.
I'm excited for you guys to see it. It is very good. I watched Notting Hill for the first time. I think this is one of my favorite rom-coms. It felt a lot more authentic. Well, not authentic in the way like, oh, this bookstore owner can get into a relationship with a movie star, but the humor and like the charm and wit,
so good.
It felt a lot more authentic to real life. Like Hugh Grant's character is extremely awkward, but really like charming at the same time. And it's like probably it's up there with like greatest. What do you call Hugh Grant's character in this movie?
Like a rom-com guy?
Yeah, rom-com guy. It's sure, for lack of better words. Give that 4 stars. Dunkirk. This is the one that Jack, I thought you'd be pretty excited about. It's a good one. It was good. Honestly, I think of the Nolan films I've watched, it's towards the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's below Interstellar, it's below Oppenheimer, it's below The Dark Knight. It might be below The Dark Knight Rises.
Whoa.
It's around there with Batman Begins. It took me a while to get into because the movie, it's 3 different stories that are told at different times, but at the end, converge.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to get into until probably towards the end of the second act. But I thought it looked like a Nolan film. Like everything looked great and it sounded great. And I gave that 4 stars. The last thing I watched was Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring in live orchestra. And
cool.
Fellas, have you guys ever been to a live orchestra film?
No.
This is going to sound really cliche, but it like genuinely changed like my film.
So awesome.
Watching experience. Like I teared up a couple times. I don't think I sent you photos, but there was, the pit with the orchestra. There were probably 60 people. And then behind them was a 150 person choir. And like, in Lord of the Rings, they have the really angelic kind of singing in the elvish parts.
Yeah.
This choir sang those parts. And it was unbelievable. And also there's this really high pitched voice in a lot of the movie. I didn't realize this until the end because of where I was seated, but when they came around to, take a bow, it was a 12-year-old boy that was singing. Like a solo.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was like one of the greatest film seeing experiences I've ever had in my life. If you guys ever get the opportunity to go to one, you need to take it. It will actually no matter what the movie is. Jurassic Park is also coming to this orchestra.
I'm looking right now that I have Batman coming, but you and I will be at Comic-Con, fortunately, Charles.
I feel foolish now because when I saw Jurassic Park, I was like, oh, I'm not as big of a Jurassic Park fan. I'm not going to go to that. After seeing this, I will see any movie with this orchestra. It was unbelievable.
Oh, November 11th, I got the music of Hans Zimmer coming to town.
I think we have John Williams coming to ours. If I were you guys, Hunter, you're probably looking at like the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
That is correct.
And Jack, you'll have the DC one. I would follow them on Instagram or on social media so you can see when they have releases. That's what I did for Lord of the Rings, and I was able to get tickets really quick. They
did the Muppet Christmas Carol last year, and I missed it.
But yeah, I would follow them on social media just so that you can stay up, grab tickets really quick. Because I looked at Jurassic Park, and our tickets, if we were to go see Jurassic Park and get the same tickets, they're like $120 now. Oh. And I got the Lord of the Rings ones right when they dropped for $40.
That's it.
I did try to get tickets for Spider-Verse came to town like last summer, and they were just so expensive. But I wish I did it.
Yeah, that's why you should follow them on social media so you can see like right when they come out.
So it sounds like they have a lot of these at the Kennedy Center in DC. and it sounds. I don't know if you guys have seen Amadeus, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
It's like the Mozart. It's like this 3-hour epic, but they have the live orchestra there, and it's over the summer. But you just put me on to just
telling you,
sneak out because it's been way too long. I feel like I have to go see one, especially after hearing how awesome it was.
It's truly unbelievable.
Well, I don't know.
Urge anyone to go see it.
Wednesday, July 9th, I could drive across the state and see Shrek 2.
Good.
Well, I don't know if you guys had. I know one of my friends. She went to go see La La Land, or you guys know Naya, right?
I looked at the tickets.
Yeah. Well, she went for La La Land in Chicago and it's literally Justin Hurwitz as like he's directing or he's orchestra. Like it's insane. And I think she said some absurd ticket prices, but holy cow! Like I feel like you just that's just something you just kind of like. I didn't realize it was going on until like, kind of too late for me. But
I looked at the ones in LA at like the observatory where they are in La La Land.
Yeah,
it's like $500 for the cheapest price.
Honestly,
and I'm like,
hindsight, I would have paid $300-$400 to see this Lord of the Rings. Like, it's. I mean, I'm kind of a broken record, but it's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, Jack.
They have. Sorry, I know. I'm like, I just keep looking, but the day after my birthday, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be there, dude. Sorry, I'm just getting myself upset. They have Deathly Hallows Part 2 in concert in DC. So
they have a Goblet of Fire next January in Denver.
This is dangerous. I feel like I'm going to go down the rabbit hole, and all we're going to talk about for the next 10 minutes is.
They also have Return of the Jedi next May.
Oh, that's your favorite, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably go see that. All the tickets go on sale on June 9th.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
hopefully they continue to do
this week.
Fire. And I guess I can hop into mine. Yeah, I got to hop into mine. So this week I watched 5 movies. I really hadn't when I tell you, I think all the way through March or all the way up until this week in May, I'd only watched 5 movies. So I literally doubled what I had up to this month. So I started off with Lilo and Stitch. I feel like I was like thinking that I hopefully could go see it before I left for the Indy 500, but unfortunately I wasn't able to, but I still watched the original. I think the original's like, I don't know. It's always one of my favorites. Stitch was like my favorite Disney character as a kid. It's still my favorite character now. But this story, I just feel like it's such a nice, well packaged story. In 90 minutes, you get introduced to all these characters, and I feel like by the end, you're just so emotionally attached to them. Or at least that's how I feel. I feel like it's a lot more mature than I feel like your average animated Disney movie. I think they just throw in some themes of family and belonging as a whole, and I think it's just so well put together. And I really do like this movie. Just pains me that Hunter is just the biggest Stitch hater of all time, but hey, it happens. Then I watched Mission Impossible. We'll get to that later. Then I rewatched Furiosa just because of how peak it is, and I think Furiosa came out a year ago today, which was my first episode on the pod. So it's like, I just wanted to rewatch it just to, I don't know. I think that movie's just gotten better and better for me. And I was kind of just sitting down with my brother, and he was like, "Oh, what movie should we watch? I want to watch something good." And I was like, dude, he didn't love Fury Road. And I was like, Furiosa makes Fury Road infinitely better. And I think as its own story, I think it's so good. So I kind of introduced him to that, which was fun. And then I got the black bag this week. I was just sitting around with some friends before Indy 5, the day before, and we were just kind of scrolling through, and black bag came up. Charlie had some great things to say about it, so I watched it myself. I liked it. I thought it was good. The people I watched it with, they were like, it was so boring. All they did was talk. And I was like, yeah. And someone I watched it with, he was like playing a game on his phone while also watching. And he's like, dude, that movie sucked. And I made the joke with him. It was like, oh, like maybe we could put like Subway Surfers on the TV below just to keep you engaged. But it was good.
I saw your comment, and it sounds like you had the exact same, like, just like a good looking and good, like the people, it's like sophisticated. I don't really.
It is. It was sophisticated, but I think it was like also there's just like these really like sexy undertones to this. I mean, especially because the main focus of this entire movie is on the relationship of Michael or Fassbender, while also with Cate Blanchett, and I think just the focus on their relationship is what makes it so good. And then you add in that other character who's just like oddly like fascinated by their relationship. Like I don't remember her name, but you know who I'm talking about, right, Charlie?
The woman?
Yes. Where she's doing the polygraph, and it's like, I love that scene. I think the polygraph scene in Black Bag is probably one of my favorites of the year, honestly. I think I have this at maybe like 4 or 5 for this year.
I think it's my number 1.
Okay. I think now
the fishing scenes also got me.
Yeah, the fishing scene was awesome. But for anyone that hasn't seen Black Bag, it's literally like 90 minutes, and it's so well put together, and it's
on Peacock.
It gives you everything you want in such like a short amount of time. So I think this movie knows exactly what it wants to be and like what it was trying to do. And I like that it was like sort of or I don't want to ruin it, but definitely go see it. It was a really good movie. Probably one of the best of the year for me, at least top 5. But yeah. And then after Black Bag, we were kind of sitting around again before the race, and we ended up watching Chronicle. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but so fun.
That's a good movie.
Chronicle was directed by someone we reference quite frequently.
Sean Levy?
No, that's a good guess. Honestly, if it's, we don't really say his name, but we say something that's just directly associated to him. Any guesses?
Fantastic Four.
There you go. All right. So it's Josh Trank. He directed this before Fantastic Four, and it's awesome. It's like a found footage type movie. So basically, it's the point of view of the camera or different cameras throughout the entire movie, and it's a group of 3 high schoolers that basically get powers, and I gotta say, it's like one of the most realistic I don't know if like call it a superhero movie, but they all get superpowers, and like, if you were in high school and you got superpowers, like what would you use it on? But then also it was just so much darker than I anticipated. I think this movie just had a lot of just really dark themes, and it was very realistic in terms of, who got their powers and how they would use them. So honestly, I'd highly recommend. This one's also really short. It's 84 minutes. I know it's like sometimes you'll get to the end of the night and you're like, man, I don't have time for like a 2-hour movie or something, but 84 minutes is totally doable. So if you guys are in that position, highly recommend this movie. And for 2012, I think some of like this, like even CGI looks, I mean, there are some scenes that look kind of goofy, but overall, I think the movie looks really good considering it was made in 2012 on a pretty small budget. So yeah, this is also Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan's in this, and I think it's one of his earlier movies. So it's kind of cool to see in a young Michael B. He still has like the charisma. He's still like the charisma guy in this movie, which I think is so funny because it's just he just has it, and he's had it forever, and he'll continue to have it forever. So yeah, Hunter, what did you watch this week?
I had some good ones. So I was like, let me watch something old. So I went on Max, and I put on the Bandwagon, 1953, and it's Fred Astaire, and it's very interesting because it's Fred Astaire as basically a parody of Fred Astaire, and he's like a aging artist who is kind of like a former star who's kind of been like dealing with a series of flops, and he gets convinced to join this Broadway artsy thing that he's like kind of not really into, but he wants to do it. And it's like a big comeback moment for him as a star. And I thought it was pretty good. So really big recommend for me. Not the greatest thing in the world, but like fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. Then did a little rewatch of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning before the final reckoning. 4.5 stars. I mean, that entire train sequence is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. It truly is amazing. Him jumping off the cliff is wild. I have come to terms with that. I think the death of Ilsa Faust is honestly great from a character perspective. I do miss Rebecca Ferguson beyond belief in these movies, but a character that goes back and forth of like who her allegiances lie to and always kind of looking out for herself, even over Ethan sometimes, dying because she sacrificed herself for someone else, I think is a great character arc. And the Entity is a great villain in this, which is awesome. And then on my plane ride, I watched 2 movies that I haven't seen before. I watched 2024's Better Man, the Robbie Williams biopic where he is the monkey. And I think I would have really loved this if I knew Robbie Williams. Not knowing him hurts my enjoyment of this, but I still give it 3.5 stars. I think it's incredibly inventive, really well done. Some of the set pieces are like so good, but they still do like the check the box biopic stuff. It's just him as a monkey doing it, but really good overall. Besides that, I still don't think I'm a big fan of his music though. Sorry, Mr. Williams. My bad. And then I watched 1997's Contact, starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, directed by Robert Zemeckis. This is a weird movie. So it's basically Jodie Foster is like a radio listener, and they were like pretty much listening for aliens, and no one believed her. And then aliens did end up calling. And it's like the whole them figuring out how to deal with contact, the first contact. And it's pretty good. I like a very interesting like religious subplot that actually I think is pretty well done. And yeah, just a good movie overall. And I gave it 3.5 stars. And then my final one of the week was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which we will get to later. But overall, good stuff this week.
Fire. Can I share one of my experience? I texted you guys about it, but I feel like it'd be somewhat interesting to discuss. So like when we were looking for movies to watch, especially, so Chronicle was not the first choice when we were kind of scrolling through Prime. We ended up on Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. Actually, like we were pumped to watch it. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen this in a while. Tom Cruise. I just want to give him all the love he deserves right now. We click it, and it proceeds to show us a different movie than Edge of Tomorrow. And we're like, oh, it's just a glitch in the system. We'll like start it over. And we tried it several times, but it just continued to play this movie that was clearly not Edge of Tomorrow. So not really sure what's going on there. Prime, but get it together. I've never heard that happening to like anyone though.
Yeah,
I've never heard that either. I thought for sure that because you texted us about this. I thought for sure you'd get like the Tomorrow War, and that's what I mixed up on.
Yeah,
but that's the weird. It's just a random movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Freaky.
Speaking of that, I moved rooms, as you guys know, and I didn't realize. So I started collecting Blu-rays this year in Denver. I didn't realize how many I'd gotten until I started moving.
Oh boy,
it's kind of absurd.
Did you count them up? You had to have counted them. I know you did.
I think number of discs. I think it's like 120 to 130. But then I have like a ton of Blu-rays that have multiple films. So total, I probably have close to 150.
Can I recommend something to you, Charles?
Sure.
If you go to blue-ray.com, you can make an account and then track what you own, and it will tell you how many movies you actually have versus like how many just discs you have, and it's very helpful.
Okay.
I recommend that.
All right. Maybe I'll do that this evening. Just spend like 3 hours inventorying.
Well, they have like a barcode scanner, so you just have to scan it and then move to the next one. It takes like 2 seconds.
I think I
no
did
free ads.
That. Free ad. Well, not I think. I know I did start doing that, but the problem is I didn't keep doing it, so now I have like no idea which one. Like I'd have to check to see if I'd already. You know what? Really not a big problem. Yeah. First world problems.
First world problems. Well, we got a lot of Mission Impossible talk later, so let's speed through some news. Tom Cruise wants to make a movie with Michael B. Jordan. Honestly, he's just like me. I also would like to do that. So, call your shot. Also, if you're Michael B. Jordan, that's got to feel so cool. Just like the CEO of movies, Tom Cruise, being like, I want him to be in a movie.
I do gotta say, I've never lost trust in Tom Cruise, but I think I'm very happy that him and Michael B. Jordan linked up. But I gotta say, he greeted The Weeknd with open arms and said he was a great actor.
That's how you know Tom Cruise is a great actor.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Nice try.
See, I love The Weeknd. I literally listened to one of his albums like from start to finish all the way home on my drive today. Banger after banger after banger. I haven't seen Hurry Up Tomorrow, but I've seen some of the clips. Maybe I will go. You know what? I think I'm just gonna say it this week. I'm gonna go see it for research, and I will report back.
There you go.
Tom this Cruise, is your dog, man.
What if Tom Cruise were to make a good movie with The Weeknd? And you know how crazy it would be? Like the world would just be such a different place.
Probably a better place.
A much better place.
Agreed.
Weeknd been in a good movie.
Has The Weeknd been in other movies?
I'm pretty sure he was in. I have no idea actually. Huh.
I can pull it
he
up.
was in. He's got 130 acting credits.
Uncut Gems.
Oh, but he's not for like 2 seconds.
What?
Yeah. He's in The Downfall of Diddy.
There you go. Shout out.
I think that's like a.
He was in one episode of Robot Chicken.
Oh well, in that case.
Yeah. Now you get it.
But is there any specific movie that anyone thinks that Tom Cruise and Michael B. Jordan could pull together that would just be like? I feel like Hunter. Like I feel like you've had like.
I gotta go. I almost want to think I want them to go like against what we would expect. Like we would probably expect like a straightforward action movie, but if they did like a buddy cop movie that was a little more serious, like if they were imagine like a Seven, like Seven mixed with the Nice Guys, and it's those two.
Just the aging veteran with the young, young and ambitious new guy. Gotta love it. Need that.
That'd be pretty great. Next up is for Charles, Whack-A-Mole movie from Mattel and TriStar. Heck yeah, the brand cinematic. You did.
I don't remember asking.
Listen, I saw enough Disney adults dressed up like Stitch this weekend. There's an audience for this. I know that for a fact.
Hey, don't be dissing on Stitch like that, man.
They give Stitch all the good screens.
All I know is it's going to be animated moles, and they're going to come to the real world.
And they're
going to show up in New York City.
Yeah,
I'm no expert, but I bet they're going to get whacked.
Yeah, it'd actually be funny if they just did a parody of Goodfellas, and like that's the whacking that they do.
That would be funny.
I would watch that.
That would be clever.
That'd be pretty good. The Rock is reteaming with A24 on a psychological thriller called Breakthrough, where he is a alienated young man who comes. Well, he's an influencer who's a motivational guru who gets like an alienated young man under his influence. Honestly, that's like the perfect Dwayne Johnson role. Like he is basically like the health influencer guy.
Sounds like another Oscar. Because obviously he's going to get one for a smashing machine.
Yes, agreed.
I just feel like they have to know something. I mean, obviously the Smashing Machine is A24, so like they clearly know something that we don't. And then the fact that Scorsese's trying to get him in his movie, or at least reported to have wanted to get him in his movie as well. I feel like it's just The Rock. The Rock understands it now. After Red One, he understands it now.
Speaking of Oscars, I gave my buddy this line. If I gave you a line of 3.5 years Would you take the over or the under on Timothy Chalamet Oscar?
I would take
Over.
I would take over. Yeah, I'd take over as well.
You would take over? Okay.
Yeah.
My money took the under.
I feel like, well,
But I feel like I
obviously-
know what's coming up for him.
Yeah, I was telling him, I was like, I was trying to figure out what was coming up. All I could think of was the ping pong.
and Dune.
Dune Messiah.
Dude.
Because honestly, I feel like the Oscars. I mean, we've talked about it before, but they do tend to get it wrong. So I feel like,
And
unfortunately,
also, if he wasn't going to get it for Complete Unknown, he ain't going to get it for a while.
But Hollywood loves him, and it'd be great.
I agree.
Do you think 3.5 years is the right line?
If I knew a ton of projects that he had coming out, I feel like I like if there were a bunch of really big, ambitious projects that I saw that he was involved with right now, I might agree with you, especially like very Oscar bait, which we already had for A Complete Unknown, which Hunter was saying. So I feel like the fact that that didn't get recognized as much as, but at the same time, I think the biopic genre is getting a little bit exhausted in terms of, I mean, even though Adrian Brody won for technically a partial biopic, you know, but I don't know. I think the Academy is just so unpredictable, and I think Chalamet could easily give an Oscar performance, and they would still overlook it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dune Messiah, you have to. Everyone has to watch that film because of the new Oscar rule.
Well, it's also coming out the same day as Avengers Doomsday now. It's Doom Messiah.
Now, who thought that was a good idea?
Avengers Doom Messiah. Coming to a theater near you. 2026.
I tell you, Dune's gonna move their date. I feel like Dune.
Yeah,
will.
Dune will move to early summer, like May 2027, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially all the MCU people, I feel like us that grew up with the MCU and really love it. Honestly, I don't know. I think I would still see Dune. I would be more excited to see Dune, obviously, than I would be to see Doomsday, just because Dune has been consistently awesome. But I still think it's like they don't really want to give people the option.
Yeah.
For the average person who's like, oh yeah, Marvel, hell yeah.
I'd be conflicted because I'd rather see Dune, but I feel like the theater experience would be a lot more impactful on a first day screening of Doomsday. If that
I
makes
understand
sense.
your reasoning. No, I understand your reasoning. But
Yeah, also I feel like IMAX would probably give Avengers the screens.
oh, that's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
It is gross. But
yeah. Whoa, come on. You wouldn't want to see I Hate You 3000 in 90-foot IMAX screens?
Well, they gave Lilo and Stitch all of the IMAX and Dolby screens instead of Mission Impossible. So
There's no way they gave them IMAX though.
they did.
Do you have IMAX near you? And they gave it to
Mhm.
That's so weird.
That's crazy. I just don't.
Sorry
It
for
was
your
in
loss.
IMAX.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think Lilo and Stitch released in IMAX.
What?
Because
Yeah.
it'll say either like shot with IMAX, and that means that it used like a real like IMAX camera to film. The
Well,
movie.
I just don't think it
shot
was being
for
shown
IMAX.
in IMAX anywhere. Because I thought the deal they had was Lilo and Stitch gets the Dolby screens, and Mission Impossible gets IMAX.
I'm probably
'Cause
wrong.
that's always in mine.
But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Charles.
That's okay.
But we have two
Apparently I'm
delays. Two delays. Michael Jackson delayed to 2027, most likely. It was supposed to come out last year and then this year, and now it's looking like 2027. They're going to split it into two movies, and allegedly, the first one will end with Michael Jackson leaving the Jackson 5 and doing his first solo album, which, listen, I don't know how much you guys know about Michael Jackson, but I would say that's a very weird time to do the cutoff.
That's a weird full movie to show of just the Jackson 5 for a Michael
Yeah, like him as a
Jackson
kid going to the Jackson 5.
Obviously the Jackson 5 is big. I don't know if a Michael Jackson biopic though for like a full first part movie of just the Jackson 5. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense.
Yet again,
Like-
breaking off the Beatles into 4 separate movies doesn't either. So
No, I agree. I also
Yeah.
agree with that,
But like, so I'm trying to look here. So I feel like they should have cut it at thriller, right? Like, because I feel like the thriller to bad jump is the jump that people are interested in. Like, I don't know if his early solo career is like the place to cut it. I feel like it should end with him on set of like Thriller. Like that's your post-credit scene is like, I'm thinking about a song for Halloween. And then everyone in the audience just points and goes, "Oh my god." And then to be continued next year.
It just starts off with like the first couple beats,
Yeah,
stops.
It's like young Michael Jackson looking in the mirror, snapping, "Who's bad?" And that's how it starts.
and the audience is like,
"Oh my god, he said the thing."
See, I think I don't want them to give me a 2-hour movie that is just very surface level. Like I want to get deep into this person and like
I don't need 40 minutes on Janet, like in my Michael Jackson biopic.
I'd honestly be fine with a 3-hour movie. I mean, I'd be fine with an Elvis runtime if it were to serve its full purpose. I just feel like if they were to break it up and it's like an hour and 40 minutes each or something, I feel like it's got to be at least like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 each or something. Like, am I wrong to say that? Because I feel like if not, it just make like, why would break it up into 2 if it's going to be like an hour and 40 minutes each?
I'm with you. I don't get why. Because his first solo album was Off the Wall. Off the Wall was in 1979. And then he didn't do Thriller for 3 more years. I just feel like Thriller should be the cutoff point. But we'll see. Michael Jackson for you, folks. Folks, it's Michael Jackson. The second thing that was delayed was Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, both delayed to December of the respective years. So we'll get December 2026 and December 2027 for the next 2 Avengers movies, which means our next 2 Star Wars movies are safe in May.
Thank goodness. I
know, just what we wanted. Just what the doctor ordered, actually. What does this mean for Avatar, though, is the real question. Because I think Avatar 3 is supposed to be this...
It's this year.
Christmas. But then when is Avatar 4? Avatar 4 is 2029?
It's a pretty big movie. When was Way of Water? 2021?
Way of Water came out.
22. Christmas 22.
Yeah.
So 3 years.
It's an extra year.
Oh my god, dude. Then 4 more after that for Avatar 4. Listen, James Cameron. Just, okay, stop it. Stop it.
Why stop?
He's making me wait too long. I want to see how these little blue guys end their journey. I don't want to be 33 by the time this journey's over. Right? The story of Jake Sully should have ended in the 2020s at most.
Hey, what do we give it? Do we give 2 Avatar movies before the Batman comes out, or?
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I saw a thing today that apparently Robert Pattinson is going to be the same age that Christian Bale was in The Dark Knight Rises when he starts filming the Batman 2. And boy. That just broke my brain.
That's nuts.
Just have the picture of Christian Bale when he hasn't shaved and he's all old with the cane.
My young Playboy Batman turned into the oldest Batman real quick.
They give us like a 20-year time jump.
Exactly. All right, last 2 pieces of news here. Last 3 pieces of news. Devil Wears Prada 2 coming. The sequel is coming out next spring. Meryl Streep expected to return. Emily Blunt is questionable. Stanley Tucci is expected to return. And it seems as though Anne Hathaway is coming to return. And it's going to be about Miranda Priestley's struggle against, I think, Emily Blunt's character being a advertising executive and like going digital with all of the magazine world. And it's like, how does Miranda Priestley hang on in a world of digital magazines? Which is actually a pretty interesting concept, I would say.
I'm in.
So, in on it.
Wears Prada rocks.
Yeah, it does. Just 3 dudes who love Devil Wears Prada. Heck yeah. And the last 2 pieces of news are from the exact same interview. So Chris McQuarrie did a large interview with the Happy Sad Confused podcast. He was too busy for our podcast, clearly. What the heck, Chris McHugh? Anyway, he talked about Top Gun 3, and they already have the story. They figured it out. They know what they're going to do, which is just insane to me. So Top Gun 3 is going to happen, and it's coming sooner than probably we think. I would say it's the next 3 or 4 years, we'll probably have Top Gun 3. And the other piece of news that's interesting is Chris McQuarrie wrote and pitched a Henry Cavill sequel Superman movie. This was after they did Fallout together. He wanted to keep working with Henry Cavill, and his idea basically for the Superman movie was to have it tie into Green Lantern. So like Green Lantern and Superman would have like a co-team up movie as Man of Steel 2. And the big thing he talked about also was the first 5 minutes of Man of Steel 2 would have been a completely dialogue-free montage similar to the beginning of Up, where it's just Superman going around helping people for 5 minutes. And that just sounds like the best thing I've ever heard. So that would be pretty awesome if we got that. But I also am glad that we're getting a new direction for this because it's time to move on. So Chris McQuarrie, come back.
Man.
Chris McQuarrie, come back.
The yearbook.
Yeah. It's time to go home.
That's me. Look at me. I was on the team.
Look, kids, I went there. That was a big deal.
I swear I won the state title. Look, it's in the yearbook.
Yeah. Still wears the varsity jacket around town. Mid-30s.
That is me with Man of Steel, but that's okay.
Yeah. Listen, I still think Man of Steel is a good movie. I never thought Henry Cavill got his shot to make it, to do what he wanted.
And I think that's why it's so painful, like hearing about this news, all this, like these, like so far after, when we could have gotten this movie.
Yeah.
And it's just painful to see that now we do have this vision, but it is with a different group. And that's cool. But
yeah,
there's a part of me, it's like, man, he was so good. And I'm still going to love him, and I'm still going to hold on to that. But
that's how all of us Andrew Garfield heads out there feel. I mean, think of how that movie's ending is the ultimate, like, sorry, there was no more. Because he comes back. Yeah, Paul Giamatti, and then he comes back in one of the cooler sequences of the Spider-Man movie. Saves the kid, which is great. Like, glad to be back. And then it's over. There were no more. But yeah. All right, some trailers to talk about. We'll save the most interesting one. Zootopia 2. This looks bad. No thanks.
It's just a lousy trailer.
Ouch. Yeah, that's what I
like for Zootopia.
It's like an in-between of not giving you anything, one of those trailers like, we're coming out with this, but also like a real trailer. And it's like you got to pick a side because they gave us like a weird like
this is like trailer. This is like the equivalent of like Toy Story 4 just showing like the spoon guy. And they're just like, oh yeah, look, it's all the toys you love with Mr. Spoon here. I'm just like,
come get your slop, folks. Come on down. I know you're gonna be here.
Like, all right, Zootopia, what's going on? I got you at number 2 on my box office.
9 years for a child movie sequel is insane, though.
I mean, well, we got that for The Incredibles. I mean, I'm not saying they're on the same level.
9 years, I'm pretty sure, for The Incredibles.
No, I know. No, 100%. But I was just saying, like, 9 years, like, that's not new.
We got like 15 for The Incredibles.
I still think that's insane.
I was just really let down by this because I was like, oh, sweet, like we're gonna get our first.
I know. It's like, give me something.
Maybe just a couple clips of what's going on in here, and then it's just like the animals. It's like, and people are like, oh, that looks so good.
No,
give me more.
All the Stitch Lilo adults are like just seals clapping at it.
Come on, man. They're not all. Come on, Lilo and Stitch is cool. Lilo and Stitch is cool.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I'll tell you guys about my Lilo and Stitch experience here in a minute when we get to Mission Impossible.
Oh, no.
That was disappointing. Next up is It Welcome to Derry, the It prequel show coming to HBO Max, the one to watch. This looked pretty decent, I thought. I'm pretty in on this, actually.
I think it's funny, though, because it's just all like the kids on their bicycles, and they're like, oh, yeah, let's go check out what happened, guys.
Remember Stranger Things, everybody? Want some more of that?
But I'm excited, especially with like a new group, and I like the I'm not gonna say that it and the first and second movie, I think they're both good movies and I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I think a television show is gonna do Pennywise. They're gonna do a better job of building out his character than in the movie.
Do you think they're gonna bring in the magical space turtle?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, that's what I really hope as well.
Pennywise is kryptonite.
Yeah. Oh no, here comes Space Turtle.
It's awesome. I saw a video about that, the first set, and I was like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the meme too. It's like the Bill Hader meme where he's just like, he's like, hey man, and then he hits him with the and then he just like dies, but not really.
Oh my god, I'm reading this thing. So Matern is the overarching protagonist of the Stephen King multiverse. He serves as the unseen overarching protagonist of the novel It, the miniseries, and the film adaptations of the same name. He's also the protagonist of the Dark Tower series. He was the turtle and one of the 12 guardians of the beams that held up the Dark Tower. Merton guarded by one of the beams that is guarded by the other end of Shadurk. What is Shadurk? Shadurk is a giant cyborg bear with a satellite dish on its forehead. What is going on in Stephen King books?
Oh, it's too good.
That's awesome. He's just a giant turtle. Oh my god. You know that rocks.
Even at the end of this trailer, we got a little like sneak peek of Pennywise, but Bill Skarsgård's character is just too good to pass up on.
He's just too good.
I think he is. I think he really just like makes these movies, and his performance, the makeup, the costume design, everything for Pennywise is like, I'm not going to say it's like my favorite villain of all time, but I think he's quite possibly up there. He is just terrifying.
I like the idea that someone out there has a Matern tattoo.
Someone definitely, I'm going to look it up.
Someone just swerved their car listening to this, annoyed that we're talking bad about Matern.
They're like, that's
one of the guardians of the beams, dude. Watch what you're saying. Oh god. And then the last trailer is Caught Stealing. Burned out ex-baseball player Hank Thompson unexpectedly finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival amidst the criminal underbelly of 1990s New York. Darren Aronofsky is directing. Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, and Vincent D'Onofrio are stars. This looks really good. I was very in on this. Matt Smith looks crazy in this, in the best possible way.
Yes.
Mohawk.
I'm excited for. I like Zoe Kravitz. I think I didn't see the end of the studio, but her little cameo there was great. But her with Austin Butler, I just gotta say, it's like it's gonna be some great chemistry. You can kind of like feel it through the trailer. I don't know about you all, but it's like there's the scene. See, I was like moving in that direction. Like I can't do that for this. I'm like, I can't say that. But I like the fact that it looks like he owns a gun store, right?
Yeah.
He's like this very like rugged character. I think the only Aronofsky movie I've seen is Requiem for a Dream. So before this comes out, might have to do a little dive into his filmography.
I'm on the Stephen King subreddit, and it's just
it's shocking. Stephen King.
It's shockingly political. I'm sorry, I didn't think it would be. I haven't found a non-political post yet. They're getting heated in the Stephen King subreddit.
Oh yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matern is big fans out there.
That's crazy.
That is yikes.
But
good, you know what? Oh, good though. Shout out!
I don't know if
this is fans.
But like back to crap, I forgot the name of the movie.
Caught Stealing.
He was caught stealing. What happened?
Austin Butler, he needs his Oscar.
Yeah.
He deserves his Oscar. It's overdue. Now the Academy is in debt to him because the snub that we received for Elvis is just, it was ridiculous. So this looked good and looked chaotic in the best way possible. And I felt like from the trailer alone, it kept my attention. So
it kind of reminded me of the Bike Riders. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because Austin Butler's there. But
hey, you want to join my biker gang?
Oh my god! What?
You are so deep into the Stephen King. You are
no. Hang on. I'm reading the Stephen King multiverse. Stephen King is a character within his own multiverse, and according to the lore of the Stephen King multiverse, Stephen King is what's called a facilitator to tell the tale of the gunslinger, so that Roland Deschain can successfully go about his task of reaching the tower, the Dark Tower, that holds the 6 beams that was vomited up by Matern the turtle that created the universe. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I followed that for sure. So you guys want to talk Mission Impossible?
I got one more thing on Caught Stealing.
Okay, sorry.
There's somebody in here that I don't know if you guys saw.
It's Liev Schreiber, that's for sure.
I didn't realize it until I looked at the cast. The cast.
Oh no.
It's a certain someone who enjoys talking politics.
Oh. Vanessa, I was caught stealing once as a boy.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is in here somewhere. So I must have he must have been just under some incredible...
He was one of the Orthodox. It was him and Liev Schreiber.
He was okay.
Yeah, they were the Orthodox brothers.
Okay. See, that's what happens when you watch the trailer on your phone. You need to see
the Twitter compression. And you're just like, why does it look so bad? Why does this trailer look so bad? And you're watching it at 240p on your phone through the Everything app. Everything's happening on X. All right, Mission Impossible time. Let's do it. So, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Our lives are the sum of our choices. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie, written by Christopher McQuarrie, Bruce Geller, and Eric Jenderson. Starring Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, S.M. Morales, Henry Cersei, Plum Clementieff, Nick Offerman, Tramiel Tillman in an awesome role, Angela Bassett, Shea Wiggum, Charles Purnell, Greg Tarzan Davis, Hannah Waddington, sorry, just butchered that one, my bad, and Palm Clementieff.
Tom Clementoff.
That one. Fellas. I think we need to go non-spoilers, then spoilers. But first, anyone else have a weird experience with theirs? Because obviously, I traveled across the country for mine.
Oh. Some people are just obnoxiously cheering during like parts where it's like, come on. Like I understand cheering during like
we had a couple cheers.
Like cheering during like the normal parts is fine, but it's not like, you know, like when you can tell people are actually cheering, and then when people are just like there to like make a joke of it, and they're just like, oh, ha, 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 yeah,
I'm here to cheer.
Those people were in my theater, and it was like after something cool would happen, they'd be like, oh yeah. It's like, come on, like, or like there was a joke that I'll say it when we get into spoilers, like the specific part, but someone was like, it was intended to be a joke, and it was kind of like in my head, I was like, ha ha. It wasn't like the greatest joke ever, but literally someone decides to go, ha ha. It's like, bro, like,
what the heck is going on?
I mean, it was just like, really? Okay, but yeah, other than that, that's
yeah. Well, mine is just that I went to Regal to watch this, and as much as the Regal AMC, like Regal IMAX, excuse me, is very impressive, Regal is the slowest concessions I have ever experienced in my entire life. I waited 40 minutes in line for concessions.
Oh boy.
In a line that if I was at an AMC would have took me no more than 7. Ridiculous, first and foremost. But I did snag the Mission Impossible popcorn bucket. I brought this on an airplane through the airport. Nobody questioned me. No one checked or anything. It comes with sick metal keys that do the intertwining.
God, can you open it if you don't put the key in?
You can. You want to open it?
Oh, dang it.
No, you can lock it though.
Okay.
So I can lock it and stop it from opening. Yeah.
I'm going to pick that up after this episode. I swear.
And then it lights up.
God.
Yep.
Come on.
So pretty sweet, all things considered there.
Put it on the resume.
I know. Listen, make it the only thing on the resume. Just put a picture of it. Be like, I own this. I own this and got it through TSA. But yeah, I think that's really it. That's all I want to. Oh, also, listen, Stitch Disney adults, guys, what are we doing here, folks? Folks, the amount of people that went to see Lilo and Stitch. Listen, on one hand, I'm excited because theaters, it's like, heck yeah. The amount of like children I saw going to Lilo and Stitch, shockingly low. Shockingly low. I think there might have been more kids in my Mission Impossible screening, which is like, the future of America looking bright. But just a lot of adults going to see Lilo and Stitch. And I just don't know, maybe, hey, you know what? To each their own. To each their own.
Hey man, I'm not here to judge.
A lot of people dressed up.
The original is great. The original is great. And I think you missed it when I recapped it in what I watched this past week. I think the original's up there with some of Disney's best.
Yeah.
And I think, this came out 2002, so I think this holds just like a really like very nostalgic place in a lot of people's hearts. And even from the trailer, it looked good for me, and I was like, heck yeah! Like if I had the time this weekend, if I wasn't traveling, I probably would have gone and seen it. But I don't know. I like that people are showing up for the movie. I'm not loving the things I'm hearing about the movie, but.
Yeah, but that's not important. You know what is important?
Exactly.
Tom Cruise, baby. Mission Impossible.
Exactly.
Do we want to just start with our scores out of 100 and then talk some non-spoiler stuff and then jump right into spoilers? Does that work? All right.
Yes.
Charles, out of 100, what are we feeling?
78.
Okay. I think that I will be the highest on this movie from all of us based on our scores I saw.
I think so too.
I'm at a 74.
Ooh. Damn. Ooh.
I am a large chunk ahead. I'm at an 89 out of 100. I loved this. I think the biggest complaint, and I bet you guys have a similar one, the first hour is slow.
Didn't mind it.
I felt like the first hour was the weakest part of the movie, for me at least.
I didn't mind it.
I think.
Yeah.
Did you do?
I stand there too.
Huh?
I feel like if you didn't, did you just do a rewatch? Because I just did a rewatch and I was like, I know all this.
I feel like
I watched a recap video, so I knew everything that was.
Okay. I didn't mind Dylan.
I watched nothing, and I felt like I was just like, man, like. Yeah, like the way that they spend the first hour, there's some cool parts about it, but I think I was more frustrated that we didn't spend it on something that was contributing to the story as opposed to making it where if someone hasn't seen all the movies prior, they can basically be caught up.
Yes.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That was my biggest step back from it all. But once he gets to the aircraft carrier, this movie hits 100 and doesn't stop.
Sure. And this is non-spoilers, right?
Yeah, non-spoilers. I think we can talk stunt-wise, the stuff in the trailer. Obviously, there's the biplane scene, and then there's the underwater scene.
Mm-hmm.
The most incredible thing I've maybe ever seen. Just quite literally took my breath away. Both of them.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I don't really know. This is probably getting into spoilers, so I might hold it. I thought the stunts were great. I thought they were really good. I don't know if they're my favorite of the entire franchise. I don't know if it changes the draft that we just had. I still think for both sequences though, I was sitting there and I was in awe of both of them.
Yeah.
And I do think it is the highlight in this movie for me by a long shot.
The entire submarine sequence was just nuts.
Incredible. Yeah. You know what? Let's just get into spoilers. Who cares? Let's do it. If you haven't seen it by now and you're waiting for us to review Lilo and
By
Stitch,
now,
I'm
3
sorry.
days after its release.
Listen, if you're waiting for Lilo and Stitch,
Memorial Day weekend.
come back next week.
You haven't seen it by now.
Hey, this is the biggest Memorial Day weekend like ever. So go movies.
Biggest opening for Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Biggest. So love to see that.
Which is awesome. All right, full spoilers. Do we want to go chronologically for the movie, or do we want to come?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie opens up in a kind of a similar spot to where we left off, but like some time has passed. It's been a few months. So like now we're the world's in martial law. The entity is like taking over more and more. But Ethan and the gang are still, trying to go after the entity. I really did like the Angela Bassett, your mission should you choose to accept it speech. I thought that was one of the better ones of the series. Set the tone.
Yep.
Right away. Also, crazy she became president after not figuring out Henry Cavill is the bad guy. I was like, what the heck? You employed the syndicate and like put him with Ethan Hunt. Not cool. And then we got the first chase sequence where they're going after Gabriel. And then Ethan talks to the entity. And the entity basically is like, here's the plot. Here's what I'm doing. And here's how you need to stop me. Were we in on that or out on that?
I hated it.
You didn't like it?
I did not.
I thought it was kind of scary. Like
yeah.
It was unnerving.
I still think from what we know of the entity, I thought the entire sequence we got of where he's running in, was it Venice? And he's running and he's talking to Benji. I think that sequence with the entity.
Sequence was scary.
I think that is like, that still stands like the entity as a whole. I think that is its best moment for me personally. And I think what were you saying?
I think this in this particular scene, the entity is just so complacent and like knows it won and is basically just saying, Ethan, I won. I can predict everything. Just bring this. And I don't know, trapping him in there basically just to tell him that and show him every scene of what will happen if Ethan doesn't. I don't know. I thought that was a lot scarier.
Yeah. Also for me, it was one of the first times that Ethan ever seemed like afraid.
Sure.
Like even when like Julia dies in 3, when she gets like fake shot, he never was like afraid there. He was more angry. Like this time he was like actually fearful, which I thought was a very well done emotional sequence by Tom Cruise.
And we're going to talk about this as we go further in, but I think there are just some parts where like I felt like I was supposed to feel something and it just did. I just don't think it hit for me. And I think the entity sequence was one of those where I thought, where it showed basically like all the cities and everything blowing up. I thought it was sweet. I thought it looked good, but I think the entity, or once we get to the end, I think we can talk to the entity overall, but
yeah.
Question before we get too
Charles,
far.
I think he's been corrupted by the entity. I don't know. Is he even real? He's just giving him. It seems like the entity really, really got him.
So before that chase with Gabriel, did you have an issue with that scene with Ethan and Haley Atwell's character?
Oh, with the interrogation, and he takes the fake cyanide. I thought the fake cyanide was so cool.
That was awesome. I agree. That was sweet.
I had an issue with like the way that Ethan
like killed those people.
The way that was presented, where it's just showing Haley Atwell's character and Ethan just absolutely melts these dudes. I didn't like that. It didn't really seem like Ethan, and also his reaction afterwards, it kind of seemed like forced humor, and that was one of those scenes. Okay, I guess one of the main issues I had with this movie was the relationship between him and Haley Atwell's character.
I'm there too.
I thought it was pretty forced. I thought a lot of the humor was forced. Granted, I've only seen Dead Reckoning once, and it was last summer, so maybe my memory is kind of failing me. It didn't really seem like in that movie it seemed like there were hints of romance, but it was a huge jump in this movie that maybe I wasn't ready for. Again, I might be misremembering, but I didn't really like all of that. The relationship.
maybe you guys would disagree. I got the vibe that she was more into him than he was into her. I got the vibe that he likes her, but isn't like in love with her, where she felt more like in love with him. And I think that he constantly pushes people away that like from a romantic side. Like obviously he has friends, but like I think ever since Julia and then Ilsa, he like pushes people away from the romantic level. And I never felt like he jumped that line.
I personally did not get that vibe. That might just be me.
No, I agree. I think I wasn't as high on that as I feel like the movie was intending me to like care about that whole. Mm-hmm. I was happy that they didn't have like a makeout sesh, because I think if it got to that point, I would have been not like really upset, but I would have been like, oh, come on. Like, again, wasn't super high on it, but I'm glad that the only time they really mac is when he's like dying. So
yeah, it's just to save him.
Yeah. I have to do it. I have to.
Yeah. And then we get the separation where Ethan goes to the president and her cabinet and is basically like,
no, I guess we're skipping over a really big part.
What I skip?
Luther.
Oh yes. The death of Luther.
Sheila.
Yeah, I did think of Charles immediately when that happened.
I thought of Charlie after the movie saying my Sheila, but then I was like, I'm worried that they'll know and I don't want to spoil anything.
I would have figured it out. I was pretty convinced going into this that either Benji or Luther was not going to get through it. And the second I saw Luther with like the air going to his nose, I was like, yep, it's Luther.
I will say that scene was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't like how he went. And I mean, I like the part where he was like, this is our job and I'm like prepared to do this. I think I like that. I just, again, for as big as I feel like his character has felt in these movies and how big of a role he's played, I just feel like it was just, again, he was brought up at the end with the voice memo, but again, where I expected, some strings to be pulled at my heart, I
feel like it was important though, because he basically says the central theme of the movie. He's like, we do this for those we never meet, which is the whole conceits of what Ethan does. I also think too that they needed to do it to make Gabriel feel like a threat outside of the entity, because like prior, obviously like the death of Ilsa Faust was like him, Gabriel and the entity like pulling up and it's like, we'll take anybody out. But now that the entity is kind of against Gabriel, it's like, all right, is Gabriel capable in and of himself? And then with this, it was like, yeah, he is. I think my biggest issue though was like they never fully explored the backstory between Gabriel and Ethan, which like we got teased about in Dead Reckoning, and then even in this one they teased a little bit. But we never got like what happened all those years ago that led to Ethan.
I didn't super mind that.
I'm with you, Hunter. I think it's just weird that I feel like they have exposition for almost everything except for that.
Well, especially because in the trailers, the underwater sequence where Haley Atwell's Grace saves Ethan, originally based on the trailers, it's the woman that Gabriel kills 20 years ago or 21 years ago, who saves him. So it's interesting that I wonder why that was changed. I mean, obviously I think it works better as Grace, seeing as we didn't get any backstory for that woman, but just weird they would even kind of include that.
Sure.
But then he goes and they just recap how much of a badass he is, and they're like, yeah, he's Ethan Hunt, he's gonna save the day. And then the president gives him whatever he wants, and then we go on the Apple TV detour for a minute and get to see some of our favorite stars of streaming TV shows over on Apple TV. Tremel Tillman is so good in this role.
Dude,
as the captain.
So good.
Him calling him Mister every couple seconds was just so great. And just eating up the scenery in every possible way.
When he was like, you want to poke the bear? Came to the right man.
Just so good.
The people next to me were like eating it up. They were like,
that was 100% the best line delivery in the entire movie. I was just sitting there and he's like, you came here to poke the bear? Well, you came to the right place.
Yeah. The amount of him showing up got the most gasps out of my audience for sure.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, like
Some people started clapping, and I was like, you know what, I'll clap to that.
Like the amount of just, is it Milch? I think it's Milchick. Is that Mr. Milchick? It was just great.
Milkshake.
Mr.
It was funny. My dad was
Milchick.
like, oh, milkshake, and I was like, yes.
Yes, that's him. That's him. It was just so great. He was such a good moment too of like that whole sequence is great. Even before he gets out.
And then the part where he's like, I need you to turn the submarine around so they don't stay on our back. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, that wasn't a part of the plan. And he's like, well, and then he was like, well, then, I have a different plan. And then he's like, what exactly is your plan? And like, obviously that was in the trailer, but I feel like seeing things in the trailer over and over again can kind of exhaust them. But I feel like that was still like perfect.
Such great line delivery too. Like the line delivery was so good.
So when he's like leaving the submarine and they open it and that submarine is right behind.
Yeah.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
So Charles, when you watched it though, in that sequence, did the aspect ratio change for you?
I don't know.
Because for me watching it IMAX, when he gets into that tube and it starts filling with water, as the water level rises, the screen gets bigger and it goes into IMAX. And so like that whole sequence stays in the IMAX until he's in the chamber.
That's awesome.
Yes. They do it again too with the airplane sequence where as he's holding on it stretches again.
I don't think mine did that. But I like when they opened the door and the submarine was just right on their tail.
Right there.
My jaw dropped. I was like, terrifying.
So good. But I guess before that, we had the welcoming back of a long lost Mission Impossible cast member in a great moment. We had William Dunlow return as Ralph Saxton, I believe, which was just such a great welcome back. And I think too, it also cements, because the moral of this story obviously is Ethan Hunt caused the end of the world with his actions. Him taking the rabbit foot in MI3 led to all of this because the rabbit's foot, spoiler, is the entity, or at least the beginning of the entity. But also him doing that to William Dunlow made William Dunlow meet his wife and then end up saving the day. So like the butterfly effect of the universe goes through Ethan Hunt, honestly, as it should. But it's just, I just think that is such a good way to bring back like a legacy character like that in a good way.
I think initially when I left the movie, I was not taken away by his character, but I think the more I sit with it, the more I do like it. I as a sicko I am, I felt the same way about him showing back up and being like important as when Toby and Andrew showed up in Spider-Man. I was just like, oh, it's my guy. It's my guy he brought the knife. He kept the knife after all these years. Just so great. His wife also just a delight. So sweet.
So sweet.
They're so cute together too. I mean, obviously later we'll get there, but they were great.
They were great together. And I think the thing too that it was, shout out Tom Cruise for, I think a lot of these movies today, especially big blockbusters, if you're the star, you take over. Like The Rock, for example, right? Like when you're watching a Rock movie, it's like, it's The Rock's show. But like Tom Cruise is not afraid to share the screen with people and let them shine in like such even minimal ways. And I think that just makes everything so much better, which is just so great. So let's talk about that underwater sequence. 20 minutes of basically pure silence it's one of the best directed sequences I've seen in years. I think it's truly incredible. On like a degree that I could not describe prior. I don't even know how they thought of some of the stuff. Him going through that torpedo hole my palms were so sweaty watching that. Like just such a great choice of everything. Like the set they must have built to just spin around that water. This is what movies are about, man. This is what it's all about. Loved it. Loved every second of it.
I like that they had a little Incredibles moment there too, where he like drops in and there's like the dead guys and they're just like,
Yeah,
dude, that was
straight,
a
like,
jump scare.
yeah,
Look at
Really?
that.
yeah. No, it was sweet. I think how they built. I'm more interested to see how they built this and what it looked like from behind the scenes, because I would just love to see, just truly how they filmed this, because it was so awesome to watch. And I think from like a cinematic standpoint, I would have loved to have seen that on IMAX. So I think I will try and go back and see it again, simply for the two stunts we have. But I mean, when the missiles start like moving around and then they block the entry, and it's just crazy because of how many like small little details just
oh my god,
add up
it's
to make
so
this
good.
like 20 minutes that are just pure chaos in the best way possible.
I mean, I truly do feel it is the spiritual successor to the Langley heist in the first one. Like, just silence in the best possible way. But the thing is, like, it's silence to a degree where it's not pure silence, because I think pure silence takes you out of it, but like the dreading of just like you hear the water bubbling up, and that's like all you get is just such a perfect ticking clock. And then that just the subtle shifts in the submarine as it goes is just so great. And then, I mean, listen, movies, obviously this is a summer blockbuster. There are some probably arts films that are much more about visual storytelling. This is great visual storytelling. Him dying and then basically being like in the shape of a baby and then being reborn is just incredible visual storytelling. It's so good. Loved it from that aspect. And I think too, like after that stressful sequence, you needed a moment of levity, and Dunlow's wife was there to give it to you. Good little classic gag of her just waving. Just so great.
Hi.
So good.
That just the entire shot of him, like, I think it's crazy too, because when you first watch the trailer, you're like, oh, he's like floating he's like, he's sinking to the bottom.
Yeah.
But then you're watching it here and he's rising. And I think it's proud. Again, I haven't watched all of these movies in a long time, but I will say that's probably one of my favorite shots of the entire franchise as a whole. Just that the blue water is so perfect. And I think just like you said, just that position that he's in, where he's
the ice looking like the landscape. It's just between that and when he first steps out of the Burj Khalifa are like my 1-2 of best scenes.
This has to be the most impossible mission, right?
Yeah, no, a lot had to go like perfectly right for them to figure it out.
Had to be it.
Yes, easily.
Like that water had to be freezing.
Oh my god! Well, that's the thing that kept him alive, I guess. Yeah, the most impossible thing of this entire movie was him swimming up like 600 feet. That'd be so hard on like one breath.
Yeah, and then also like convulsions.
Yeah,
and
getting the bends.
Freezing water, and then also Haley Atwell's character being in the precise position that he's in to chainsaw a hole.
She could track him down to the meter.
Yeah, she got the little tracker.
She got the tracker.
No, I know, but like even a slightly imperfect cut.
But
she's good with it, you know?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a good and a bad? Or I don't remember. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, nice timing on that one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, this had to be the most impossible mission.
And then they were like, "Hey, it's time to go to South Africa." So they head on to South Africa, and like once they basically get there, I think that is like the biggest. They love it too. They just call their shot. Like Gabriel is like, I even brought 2 planes just in case, and you're like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Because Tom Cruise has got to get up there. And like the whole like bomb sequence where they had to disarm it, I think was pretty great. I think it's still so funny and like such a grudge to hold after all these years, but like Kit Rich just still not trusting Ethan. Like it's just so funny. Just after all this time, and he's like, I can't tell you what the plan is. Just can't. I think this was also a good step up for like Paris, so Pam Clementieff's character. of like her really joining the team. Also, this is the first time like Greg Tarzan Davis's character actually got to do something.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really feel like compelled or like interested in any of the side characters. You know, I thought Palm Clementov did a good job towards that back end where she was, you know, basically saving Benji.
Yeah.
I thought like that was her time to shine. But I just think, you know, Greg Tarzan Davis hanging out with the couple as they were defusing the bomb. Again, I just like, and Benji, I think Benji taking the bullet was like the bit like, it was like a surprise, but like not a surprise, you know, because I was like, if he were to go too, that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. I would agree.
And I mean, once we finish the entire review, I think I'll talk about it, but I think there is just, I thought there would be, not going to talk about it till the end. Sorry.
All
I'm
right,
just like
all right.
getting ahead of myself.
We'll fast forward to the plane sequence. So the plane sequence on the biplanes and Tom going from plane to plane, climbing around, getting thrown about, really being held, hanging on to those biplanes. I mean, this is what it's all about. Like, this is what it's all about. I think, too, because I don't know if you guys remember back to Dead Reckoning's marketing campaign. A big part of the marketing campaign was like the behind the scenes of that cliff jump.
Yeah.
This has been pretty like under wraps of like what they specifically were. And I think that elevated the experience of seeing it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you didn't know, like you knew kind of what was happening. And like we got that tease a couple years ago. It was like, I'll see it at the movies and it's him on the biplane. But like this is such like a mystery of what it really was. And for how long the sequence is, just so good. I love him being confused every time he like gets in a cockpit and doesn't know what to do, but then figures it out immediately. He like looks around and is like, all right, I got it. And then he'll go from there.
Well, then Gabriel gets quite possibly like the most, but not only that, like the entire time he's like hanging off the plane, he's like, Like I swear, every time they would cut to him, he would just be like laughing.
Yeah,
he got complacent.
Yeah, he was the most overconfident because he thought he knew what was going to happen, but then the entity like dropped him.
You don't have a parachute. Let's go.
Only one of us has one. I thought for sure he was going after him.
When he said only one of us has a parachute, I thought it was hilarious because there's a scene where like Tom Cruise like jumps from during the train sequence, you know?
Yeah.
And he like jumped off the train and my grandpa was like, "Huh, he doesn't have a parachute." But obviously he did. But like when they said that in this movie, I just thought it was really funny because I was like,
Look, callback.
Yeah.
No, I thought the death of Gabriel was one of the weaker moments, but I also thought it's like he's got to go. And I think if you're going to do it in the way where he's just so overconfident in winning then that's his like downfall, to me works from a character perspective. And then Ethan with the flaming the flaming vest once he finally gets I can't think of the word, parachute on. And then Haley Atwell, in the blink of an eye, steals the entity, and they save the day. I thought that was so great.
The Benji sequence with the lung. So my dad after the movie, he was like, "Yeah, like I mean, it's like a little bit off, but like that's pretty much it. Like that was sweet."
I've seen that before in something else, and I can't remember what it was.
I had also seen it. I forget.
I agree.
I couldn't think of what I saw it in. But yeah, then the movie kind of does a goodbye, but also like a maybe see you later. Because then once we hear like the Ving Rhames speech of like there are always people like needed people like us, like we always need to kind of be around. Like this is the life we were destined for, Ethan, and like you'll always be there if we need it. And I just felt like that, and even the final scene of like all of them seeing each other again and like going their own separate ways, to me was like a great send off. Where it's like, if this is really it, if this is like the final movie, I think it's a wonderful send off to these characters, and like especially Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise, what all he's done. But it's not like the door's closed. Like if, you know, in 5-10 years, they're like, let's run it back. Ethan Hunt's back. I would not be opposed. And I don't think from a story perspective, it doesn't not make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I walked out of it, and I like, especially being titled The Final Reckoning, and Tom Cruise being like, it is the final reckoning. I think I expected a little bit
maybe
a
more
larger sense of,
conclusive.
like,
Yeah.
yes. I think I left that, and I was pretty underwhelmed with how it ended. And I understand where you were saying, like, oh, you know, like this is their job, and you know, all of them kind of looking at each other and having that sense of, you know, they know what their job is. But again, like, it's like, holy cow, like Benji and, you know, Ethan Hunt and, like, you know, these characters have been through all this stuff together. Like, man, would I hate for me to see them just like sitting around and like smiling at each other. Like, and I know that's maybe like so direct, especially considering all like the exposition we got throughout the movie. I don't know. The way I saw the ending, I'm like, all right, they're gonna make another one. I just didn't feel like it was the end.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like the door is open enough where it's like we can come back. But if we never chose to come back, I think that this is still a good send off where it's like, you know, these characters are going to continue on in this world. Maybe we just don't see those adventures, but like, you know, that the IMF is going to continue and like is in good hands. And like the next generation could probably figure it out if they needed to. And then if they can't, gonna have to call old Ethan Hunt back to help out. But we'll see. I don't know. I feel like this was a good send off, at least for this era of Mission Impossible. Whether it returns, I will never say no to, but I also wouldn't mind if it was, you know, right off in the sunset. And Tom Cruise has a lot of other movies he wants to make.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with them saying you know, holy cow, if they were to make another one of these movies, I would be in the chair so fast to go see that movie. But I think it's just how this was marketed and how I left the theater. Like I don't know. I'm not going to say I was upset, but like, honestly, I was pretty upset leaving the theater just because I think I had such high expectations for this movie and it just did not exceed them for me personally. And I kind of told you guys about that, how like I think I wanted to be more emotionally invested in this movie. And I think for whatever reason, it was just not working. Because you know, with Ethan, the scene where like his parachute catches on fire, like I wanted to be like, oh, is he dead? But I'm like, if they literally were to kill him off because his parachute caught on fire, like that would have been the worst death.
I disagree. I thought he was dying, and I think it would have been fine because like he at that point he had gone through so much just to like get. I think it was more impactful because he was the cause of the entity, and he was going through so much to, you know, stop the entity. I thought the parachute, you know, falling apart and him dying would have been like kind of good because like his last effort was to stop.
Yeah, like he gave it his all.
No, I agree. I just think like in terms of a send off for Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, it would have been a bit more ceremony to it.
Exactly.
Like a dying off screen to falling would have been a little bit unceremonious.
So I was like, he's gonna, like, in my head, I'm like, he's not dead. Like, I don't know. I think for me, maybe I need to rewatch the others, and I don't think my opinion would change on them. I still think I would love them as much as I would. But I think like, and I know Fallout is literally like the bar for these movies, like, or not the bar, but like it is the ceiling. Like that is like, in my opinion, the best. And I mean, I think you guys would agree with me. But like, I think that was a culmination of all of these movies in such a great way, while also not giving like exposition dumping in your face for an hour.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think this was like the culmination, and obviously I think of the three of us, I'm the biggest Mission Impossible fan by like a
for sure.
part. For me, it was like, this is the perfect encapsulation of what this franchise is, where it's like this whole franchise is basically like what other studios refuse to do the movie. And like the villain in this is AI, And so to fight it, Ethan Hunt goes on 2 basically silent movie segments to save the day, where like the only storytelling method is the visual storytelling of like a director and the physical performance of an actual actor. To me is like the exact thing that I want from Mission Impossible. And that's why I was very satisfied with it. And like from an emotional aspect, I think the emotional aspect for me comes from Tom Cruise's performance in those moments, where it's like the emotion that I felt watching him struggle under the water, or like the emotion I felt of him trying to climb and reach like the prop, or like whatever that thing is on the plane to like help with the direction. Like that to me is worth every little bit of it, and like elevates it to such a high level where like, I mean, in the theater, like you feel the sense of dread was just everything to me. And that's what I wanted from it, and that I feel like that's what I got. Yeah, I think too. I agree from a story standpoint. I think there are some mistakes here. I think there's way too many. Hey, remember what happened 6 minutes ago? Let me show you a flash of what just happened 6 minutes ago. Or like, hey, remember what happened like last movie? Here it is again. And I think too, like if I went back and like recut and like cut those moments out, I think this would flow a lot better, maybe knock 10, 15 minutes off of it. But after that first hour, I feel like it hits such a place where it's like, it's one of the better things I maybe have ever seen. And like, I think that even in Mission Impossible standards, I don't think it's in my top 3 Mission Impossibles, but it's just such an incredible testament to what they can do when given budgets and like have the ability. And I think also it helps too that I've been like listening to podcasts this whole week and like on the plane and everything about like Tom Cruise and his whole method. And the one thing, like another interview I saw with Christian McQuarrie, they asked about is like, Tom Cruise basically can do whatever he wants at this point for his career. Like he could just be like, hey guys, I'm going to make a 3-hour silent movie that's like $12,000 where I make pasta. But it's like, Tom Cruise doesn't do that because it's not what's best for audiences and it's best for cinemas. Tom Cruise makes the $400 million Mission Impossible, or makes Top Gun, or makes like another Live Die Tomorrow, or Edge of Tomorrow, because it's what's best for cinemas. And the way he does it is by finding the story to get into it and making the spectacle worth it on the biggest screen you could find. And it's like, that is everything I want out of it. And I feel like he did that. So it's like a win in my book.
Sure.
That was profound.
Thank you. As my Ethan Hunt ramble of the day. Also, this is in my 5th spot of Mission Impossibles out of 8.
I have it at 6.
I have it in the last spot of the modern era of Mission Impossible. It may change after I see it again tomorrow. I am seeing it again tomorrow. So when you're listening, this is a podcast.
I'm gonna try and see it again just to try and like, I don't know, maybe try and see it again and give it another shot. In my like, I still liked it. I think I was just, again, I really wanted to just like love it, and I was a lot more, not necessarily confused, but
I think maybe
more mixed feelings than I expected.
Yeah, that's fair. I think maybe a rewatch might be an improvement for you then, because I think you're now knowing what you're going to get. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, that's totally true, because I don't know. Because I saw the reviews early, and I saw, you know, what
the negative reviews
people would say. Yeah, and I was like, you know, I don't think they're going to get to me. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to bother me. And you know, I found a couple of them just like creep up, and they did. So it's just like, maybe if I rewatch it again, I'll have a different viewpoint. I
still think it's some of the negative reviews I was like shocked by.
Yeah.
Like I get if maybe this one isn't for you, but to say it's bad, I think is crazy.
Yeah. Again, it's still like, this is still Tom Cruise putting forth like a great effort to give an awesome movie going experience. And I think the 2 stunts alone are worth the price of admission. I mean, while I do have problems with the story, I think everyone should be seeing this movie alone just for the stunts, if not anything else, because they are just ridiculous. But I wish I did like it more. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will. Was I the only one that felt? Did you feel like that a little bit, Charlie, or no?
I don't think to the extreme that you felt it. I don't think it met expectations, but I think it got pretty close.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting a 4-star, and I think it was just closer to. I still give it a 4-star, but it was closer to 3.5 than it was 4.5. But like, I still have it as the highest rated Mission Impossible in my list. Then like, it's my number 4. It's my number 2 on the year. Like, I just thought it was great. I thought it was an absolute.
I'm surprised that you have this that high on your Mission Impossible ranking.
After
you're not as big on Fallout. I forgot.
Fallout's my number 1.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of Rogue Nation.
Ah, that's what it was.
But I think I need to revisit that because
Rogue Nation is the underrated gem of the modern era.
Okay. I mean, Ghost Protocol is like, it's between that and Fallout, my favorites. And then I thought like Dead Reckoning was great. Those are the 3 that are in front of Final Reckoning. But yeah, I mean, I still thought it was great. It was an incredible theater, like film going experience. So
yeah.
Sweet. I did afterwards. We went on a bar crawl, and I did pre-order the Steelbook. The art has not even been released yet for the Steelbook. I don't even know what it looks like, but I did pre-order it.
I might as well.
At 2:30 in the morning.
I might as well.
In Newport Beach, California. So
because I saw it too, and it's just the black, and it just says
it just is coming soon. So let's just say that I am excited. My mission, should I choose to accept it, is to buy the Steelbook, and I accepted that mission.
I would assume it'd be the same as the other Steelbooks that they've come out with over the past couple of years.
So it's weird. They've had like the red ones, but then they also have like the anniversary ones, and I have a couple of those, but then also the red one for Dead Reckoning. So I don't know. I also would wonder maybe it's gonna be like the biplanes embossed, which would be kind of cool. Yeah. When like on the biplanes embossed on the one side and then Sevastopol on the other side. Christopher McQuarrie. Get on it. But yeah, that was Mission Impossible, probably one of our most anticipated of the year. We got a lot of other big movies coming the rest of the year. It's funny, at the beginning of the episode, before we started, a little behind the scenes, Charles and I and Jack were talking about having shorter episodes, and then we went our usual length this episode. So we're going to get better at that. But Mission Impossible, obviously, is a little bit bigger for us to talk about. Next week we got Karate Kids, and then we got John Wick, but it's really Ballerina. And then we have a week of we got How to Train Your Dragon. Excuse me, How to Train Your Dragon fans out there. And then we have a question mark week, and then we're pretty much into full summer swing of. I mean, Superman is like 50 days away. Like, we're close.
That's Superman.
Say that again.
I said that's Superman.
That's nice. So yeah, it's gonna be a good upcoming releases for some stuff here in the next couple of weeks. Because I think we're basically in June like next week, which is crazy.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, are we gonna see Elio? Or are we gonna see 28 days later? 28 years later?
Oh, definitely years later, but I might try and peek in for Elio, Okay. It looks interesting.
Well, yeah, because we got F1 is like less than a month away. And then Jurassic World. Oh my god, dude, we're in it. This is great. I love the movies.
Me too. It's a great time to go to the movies. It's packed.
And as Tom Cruise would say, eat your popcorn. He has two popcorns every time he goes.
Have you guys seen the video of the guy where he literally walks up on stage? He's like, "You ate all your popcorn."
Yeah, I'd be the great. Oh man, dude,
I'd be so embarrassed. I would never go to the movies ever again. I'd be so.
No, that's what Tom Cruise does. Tom Cruise definitely does the trailer popcorn, and then he has someone like he snaps his finger and someone brings him a brand new one as like the Nicole Kidman ad is going on, but he obviously doesn't watch the Nicole Kidman ad.
Like Les Grossman, but he's just like, "Where's my popcorn?"
Yeah.
Give me a Diet Coke.
Yeah. I wonder if he's a Regal guy and he gets a Diet Pepsi. I could never look at him the same if that was true. But yeah, that was Mission Impossible. Anything else, boys?
Hunter called a shot last week. Caesar Flickerman will be drumroll. Kieran Culkin. He was like, I cannot wait to see who is casted, and
Yeah.
it was Kieran Culkin. So I literally saw that and immediately sent it in the group chat. And I was
Also,
like, I know
if you guys aren't
100%.
watching the rehearsal, it's so good. The season finale of the rehearsal is one of the greatest TV achievements I've ever seen. Spoiler alert: he learns how to fly a plane. I'll just put that out there. That means nothing to you guys, but for like rehearsal guys like me out there, big news. But yeah, all right, till next week. Hopefully next week we have, I don't know, something. Apparently it might be a Fantastic Four trailer. I don't know. We'll see. All right, till next week, everybody. See you. Peace.